Hey everyone, so I'm going to teach you how to do the magic loop technique on the top of my hat. So I'm just finishing up this hat. I've already started my decreases, and now it's time to transition to the magic loop method. So what is the magic loop method? So it requires using a cord that's much longer than what you're using right now. So why do we use it? So if you look at my stitches, they're not able to fully go around my 16-inch needle. You can see they're being stretched out quite a bit. The circumference is just too long to make it all the way across. And it's going to keep getting worse the more I decrease. With every decreased row, there's going to be fewer stitches on the needle, and eventually you're not going to be able to knit at all. So that's why this longer cord comes in, which kind of seems not the case, but I'll show you how it's done. Okay, now this method you can use on any project, so that's why we're learning it in this class, because it's a technique used in a lot of different things. Okay, so I'm at the beginning of my row here, and I have 32 stitches left. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to slip our stitches onto this needle. So to slip, you transfer the stitch off the needle and onto the other, just as if to purl. So I'm going to do this halfway across. Now this metal needle I'm working with is a size 10, but it's a 32-inch. And you can use metal or bamboo needles. Metal seems to be better because this cord doesn't get all twisty. With bamboo needles, it's a plastic cord, so it makes magic loop a little trickier. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ooh. See, it's really hard to even push them because they're just stuck on this needle. It's very crammed. 15, 16. Okay, so half of my stitches are on this needle, which is like the midway point of all the stitches I have left. Okay, so now I'm going to pull my needle, my new needle. Okay, and now I'm going to turn my work, turn it counterclockwise towards you, give it some room, and I'm going to transfer the rest of the needles onto my magic loop needle, or transfer the rest of the stitches, sorry. Okay, now we don't need this anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of give these some space, but we're gonna keep this extra loop right here, some space in between these stitches. Okay, so let's get you situated here. So we have half of your needles on one side, half of your stitches on one side of the needle, half on the other. We have this big loop. You always want to keep this space in between this midpoint. Okay, so now we're ready to knit our next row. Okay, so the first thing you do is this needle that's in front of you, you're going to push all your stitches towards the top because we're going to be knitting. We're still going to be going in that clockwise motion. Okay, these stitches are ready to be knitted, but we can't really access this point here. So what we need to do is pull this back needle so we have some area to knit with. Now remember, always keep that cord right there. Okay, so now yarn in the back. Now let's knit. So I'm on a decrease row, so I have knit 2, knit 2 together. I'll do this all the way across. Now this is going to be so confusing to start off with, but the more you just kind of practice, of course, it will get easier. Magic loop is not easy to learn. But once you learn it, you'll be able to knit really pretty much like any project with this method. And you won't have to purchase as many needles, which is kind of nice. When I first started knitting, I would do magic loop all the time. Okay, last stitch is my knit 2 together, great. Okay, so I just finished my row. Now what do I do? Well, make sure I keep that space there. I'm gonna flip the work over, and I'm gonna work my other side. So what I do first is I pull that needle so the stitches are gonna come up. Push those stitches up, and then we're gonna pull that back needle, always keeping that cord length right here. And then we're going to finish those other stitches. Knit 2 together. And then I have my last 2, just the same as normal. Knit 2 together. Great. All right, same thing. This is what my piece looks like when I finished a row. Flip the piece over. Boom. All right. Now I pull my needle back, keeping that nice long cord there. Push these stitches up. And then pull that back needle towards you so you have access to work those stitches. And you're going to keep working that until you have a couple stitches left of your hat, about 4 or 5, and you'll cut the yarn and thread it through. So what happens if you accidentally like pull it like that? Well, if that happens to you, you're going to be stuck. I mean, it's fine, we'll fix it. But you can't knit all the way around like that, you know? Your stitches are just, it's a circle, so they're just gonna be stuck. So if you ever find yourself in this position, first, notice where your tail is. That indicates your beginning of the row, right? You should also have a stitch marker. I don't. So that's where your round starts. So then you find the midway point between these stitches. Okay, so I have probably 20 so left. So I find like 10 halfway. Oops. And then you just want to make space right here and pull that cord. So you always have that loop, that magic loop. That's the magic loop. All right, and then you'll keep doing that forever and ever until your hat's done. All right, thanks.